Hello everyone, I'm here to do the live for the book Reinvention by Natasha Malpani Oswal, and I'm waiting for Natasha to join. All of you know I'm a self-help book addict, and I'm extremely interested in knowing how people stay relevant, how they connect with people in changing times. I think that's an extremely important conversation, and one that we're going to have with Natasha, because she's shifted from so many countries. She's been so many things, and I'm waiting to chat with her. Natasha's going to be joining us shortly. And well, I'm doing a live after a long time. I think in the lockdown, perhaps this is my second or third live, which is very rare because a lot of people have done a lot of lives, but I've been on other people's lives, but this is one of my first. And I felt that Reinvention, which is a book by Bloomsbury, the fabulous publishers who published some wonderful authors, and now Natasha Malpani Oswal as well. And it's a really relevant thing, reinvention. I think the success that one has in changing times, because time is something that never stops. And what is it then that actually allows you to stay relevant? I think it's reinvention. So let's just see if Natasha's here now. And yes, here she is. Natasha here. So put all your questions down, and then let's see what Natasha can answer. And we're both going to be sharing our reinvention stories with you. Hi Diksha, hi Ravi, hi Viva, hi Kapil. Hello everyone. We're waiting for Natasha to come on. And okay, let's see what's happening. One moment. Okay. Okay, getting the hang of this. Natasha's waiting for us. Hey, Natasha, there you are. Hi.
Hi, how are you, Tisca?
Hi. And welcome to the live. And what a big day it is that we're launching your book, Reinvention, here. So, congratulations, first of all, Natasha. Uh,
Thank you. Thank you. Very excited to do this launch with you, Tisca.
Very excited to be doing it because I think a lot of people who follow me on Instagram know that I'm a self-help book addict. And this book is all about reinvention, and I think the essence of staying relevant is reinvention. And my God, how many have you done? So you studied it, went to Oxford, and then to Cambridge. You studied immunology. So tell us a little bit about your initial years. How was that like?
So, growing up, my parents were doctors, and I was always a very naughty kid. And you know how it was, 20, 25 years ago. It was if you did well in school, you would obviously do medicine and engineering. And I think I had this really horrible tendency to please people. So, I wanted to please my parents, I wanted to please my teachers. So, I never asked myself what I actually wanted to do. I just blindly studied for the medical entrance exams and I got in. But the first week of enrolling in medical school, I was like, wait, I hate hospitals. I hate the sight of blood. I cannot stand even looking at an injection, forget taking it or giving it to someone. What am I doing? trying to become a doctor. So I just, for the first time in my life said, you know what, I have to do what I want to do. And I just dropped out of medical school. And I still, didn't think bold enough at that time. I said, okay, what's the next best thing if I'm not going to be a doctor? It's going to be science still. So I ended up studying immunology. So went to Oxford, got a degree in immunology. I even briefly worked in cancer research. And
Nice.
ag- yeah, and then again, I hated being in a lab. It sounds really glamorous when I say cancer research, but really, what scientists do is basically they spend a lot of time pipetting and cleaning test tubes. So it really wasn't for me because I'm very much a people person.
Wow. But imagine, and then you became an investor in London. So from immunology cancer to an investor in London, how did that come about?
So, when I went abroad, I sort of started meeting people from all over the world, and I saw just how many options there were in terms of following your own path. And I really thought, what is it that I want to do? And decided that what I really wanted to do is support other people who were trying to build companies. So I just, blind leap of faith. I applied for this job on Twitter actually, that I was completely unqualified for. I mean, I was a scientist, just applied to work at this investment fund that was just launching, got the job, someone amazing took a bet on me, and I ended up working for 5 years, moved from being an analyst to an investment director for a fund that ended up becoming $1 billion fund. So it was just, an amazing decision. And I think that was one of the first decisions that basically showed me that, when you just take a leap of faith and you listen to your own heart, you can do anything you want. It doesn't matter what the conventional wisdom is or what people tell you or what you studied. I mean, you just need someone to take a chance on you.
Unbelievable. So you went to Oxford, you went to Cambridge, and then you went to Stanford. You've been an immunologist, and you've been in cancer research, and you've been a hedge fund manager, become $1 billion fund. How did the book come about? And this is your second book. Your first book was
Yes,
The Amazing Boundless.
yes, yes.
How
So,
did okay? First, tell me, how did writing come about?
actually, even though you're saying, I was an immunologist, I was an investor, really my first love is writing. So I've been writing since I was a child. I wrote my first biography, when I was 4 years old, which is ridiculous because obviously I had not, I don't know how I ended up writing a
Did you
biography when I'd lived for 4 years.
so did this at the age of 9, which had to be shut down by the school because the school said that she's making too much money out of other kids. So you were successful entrepreneur at the age of 9.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was writing, and because I just loved books. The first company I started was a library, which again, people would tell you is a terrible business model. But like you're saying, the school actually had to shut me down because they were like, hey, you're making too much money off kids. But, so actually, I was writing my whole life. I just never thought it could be, a serious career choice because I had this, the back of my mind that, science, finance, like your career has to be something very serious. But ironically, when I went to Stanford, which is obviously a very serious business school, it was sort of like living in the future. Because in Silicon Valley, everyone keeps telling you that you can do anything, you can be anything. And I was like, if I really, really could do anything, what would it be? And I was like, actually, I want to be a storyteller. And I said, forget listening to logic, forget listening to reason, forget thinking, oh, how am I going to pay the bills? This is maybe the chance to really just say, I will go out there, I will tell stories, and then, if people like it, the money will come. So I actually just wrote my first poetry book. And by the way, I didn't think it was going to be a book. I literally started writing poems to myself on my notes app on my iPhone. So as I was, going from London to California, moving from investing to being a producer, I just started writing down my feelings just to
Wow.
myself, just to myself, like a personal diary. And it took the form of poetry because I think poetry is the most raw, honest, raw form of self-expression. And then I ended up converting those poems, into a book, Boundless, that touch wood, this was my first experience of storytelling, did so well. Because I think, the honesty of the poems just resonated with people because I really poured my heart into that work. And that gave me so much confidence, because again, people will tell you, don't write poetry. How will you ever publish poetry? How will you make money from poetry? But when people connect with something, the audience is really smart. Like you cannot underestimate the smartness of an audience.
You cannot underestimate this. The audience is actually larger than any creator. It is
Exactly.
actually a collective wish that makes us create what we create. And even on a relatively new platform like Instagram, you see the reaction that people give you. I mean, I'm reading some of the comments, and people are absolutely encouraging and loving of your getting out there and creating stuff. So how did Reinvention come about?
So basically, I'd been abroad for 10 years.
This book, Natasha's new book called Reinvention. It's available on Amazon, on Flipkart, and on Kindle, and very soon in bookstores. So yes, please, how did the book come about?
So, I'd been abroad for 10 years and then decided to move back to India. But, after 10 years, moving back to India did seem like home. I was making this huge career shift from being an investor to being a producer. I actually joined Dice Media, the makers of Little Things, What the Folks, as the head of Dice. So I basically just, joined this very quickly growing company as, the head of like all these big shows. And I was struggling to transition to being home, because I'd never really, I had not lived with my parents for 10 years. So obviously imagine then suddenly going and living with a new family, living with your in-laws, just like adjusting to a completely new place, adjusting to new profession. So again, I just, for me, poetry is therapy. So again, started writing these poems to myself to make sense of this change, because honestly I was scared. I was like, what if I'm not able to adjust? What if I'm just I've taken so long to find my own voice and identity. I don't want to lose it, because I do think you can start to lose your voice in a crowd. So I started writing these poems to myself saying, what have I learned about myself and how can I preserve that? And through writing the poems, I sort of started realizing that, you keep changing. There's no such thing as finding your voice. You have to keep finding it. You have to keep amplifying it. And I sort of really started seeing the power of change and reinventing yourself. So I think the poetry helped me grow and say, maybe I'm being too close-minded. I'm becoming a bigger person, right? Through learning to encompass more families, more communities. And so that's why I actually also titled the book Reinvention, because the first book was, more about my personal journey. And the second book is more about how can you build a community while preserving yourself. And obviously, I mean, I'm not saying there's not sacrifices to be made, but sometimes those sacrifices have an amazing payoff. So that's the message of this book. It's sort of a reminder to get bigger, better, bolder, instead of settling down as you grow older. I think that's a myth.
Suggesting the reverse of what people normally do. So, on that note, I'd like to sort of take a dip into the book, and I'd like you to read us a poem which is very aptly titled My Way. So, would you do that, Natasha?
Sure, sure. So this is the book, guys, as Tisca said. This poem really resonates um, with me, so would love to read it for you guys. My way, I'll do it. My way. Fall and get up again. Don't help me. Look for an easier path. Let me learn to pick myself up. The cuts are a sign of strength.
Wow.
So
Wow.
short and simple, but sort of a summary of the journey I just told you.
But powerful in that you say that no one should help you to get up because you feel that in the getting up you will find strength. Yes, yes, and someone who's transitioned so much to go from medicine to investment to being a producer. I mean, those are huge changes. Many hundreds and thousands of people never change their first job. They stick with it simply because, I call it the treadmill life, that you're just walking and you're walking and you're walking and you're walking, and you never think that there's another reality possible for you, like you yourself said. Much in my case as well, because as an actor, there was always the idea that um, women in the Indian film industry, and to some extent even in the Western film industry, tend to be slotted in character parts after they reach a certain age. And I sort of refuse to bow down to that. And you've seen Chutney and Shuri, and I recently wrote, acted, and produced and directed Rubaru, which is also online now and on the large short films page. I think that reinventing from an actor to a writer to a producer to a director, though I've not changed as much as you have in terms of career path, I've shifted within the career, within the same spectrum. I still think it requires for one to have a lot of guts, because a lot of people don't end up doing that. They end up following the same path that no one's done it before. How am I going to do it? How's it going to be possible? So how do you combat those ideas in your head?
So, I mean, Tisca, that's exactly why I thought you would be such an amazing person to launch this book, right? Because you just refuse to be slotted and you just go from strength to strength. And I mean, with every film that you either act in or direct, you, I think that's the thing with reinvention. I mean, you can look at my story or your story, and it looks it's such a nice story on the surface, but there's a lot of pain, under those transformations, right? So what I want to say to people is, of course you're going to doubt yourself. Of course things are not going to work out. For every one success I've had 1,000 failures. But and it doesn't make sense while you're on the journey, but then when you look back you can connect the dots nicely. I mean, it's the same with my books, Boundless and Reinvention. It's not like I thought these poems were all going to connect into this nice story, and then the title would all work out so nicely as well, right? But you just take one step after the other, one step after the other, and then when I look back at the poems over the last 2 years, I was like, oh, this is so clearly a story of the power of adapting to change. So you can tell yourself a nice story at the end of it, but don't worry if you're at the start of the path or the middle of the path. It will work out. I mean, I also want to say that it might not work out the way you think it would. you know it's not like I literally never thought that I was going to end up being a producer and be behind the camera. I always thought I was going to be a writer, actually. But now it's just so clear to me that, like, honestly, I think I was made to be a producer, but I would never have known that if I hadn't tried.
No, sure, sure. And I keep thinking one thing when you have the dark night of the soul, as I call it. When you're lying awake at night and you're thinking, is it going to work out? Is it not going to work out? What am I going to do? Will I have the ability? Will I have the confidence? Will I be laughed at? Will it be a bad joke? You think of all those things. What I've come to realize, I think, and tell me if you agree with this, is that I think there is more merit in having tried and failed than not to have tried at all.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
you may fail, but otherwise you'll never know. You'll go to your grave not knowing that you could have done it. You might have been able to do it, but you didn't even try. And I think that's a sorry life to have lived.
Exactly. I think that, I mean, you said it so beautifully. That's exactly the mantra, right? No regrets. It's fine. Jump, jump. And that's basically actually another poem. It says that basically the starts when you jump off a cliff. Can't see what's next. That's literally when your journey has started.
Sorry, just give me one. Sorry. So you were saying that there's another poem. I think it's called Starry Night, if I'm not wrong.
Um, so there's a poem called Sparkle and Girl, which I can read to you. which is
Okay.
which sort of encapsulates this message.
Yes, sparkle.
So I'll read a couple of those to you, which is exactly this message. So sparkle, you sparkle in a black and white world, glitter spilling when you make a move, a vibrant mess. And the second poem is Girl. If I could tell you one thing now, work on being powerful, not popular. Don't waste time trying to fit in. To what? Being liked is overrated. You set the rules. Make them want to follow and look up to you. So basically, this is, the messages, like I was saying, I had this terrible habit of wanting to fit in and please people. And, I think we're so often told to, as women especially, smile, look pretty, be nice. And I think these are such damaging messages, actually, because why do we have to be the support system, right? I mean, we can also take the lead. So those are sort of the messages, right? And I actually think it's very interesting being a producer, right? Because I mean, you yourself are a producer. That's actually, I mean, you decide, right? You decide what the script is. You raise the money. You put together the team. I mean, it's your responsibility end to end in terms of what actually makes it onto the screen. And I think I actually think that's part of the reason I enjoy being a producer, because that's, the people who build the teams, who make the calls, those are the people that actually, um, even the producers, maybe don't always don't have as sexy a role. Those are the people calling the shots.
Of course. I think there's enormous merit in what you're saying, Natasha, because I think the crucial thing that I'm hearing from you is that um, there is a lot of messaging that goes into the lives of Indian women, and that messaging is sort of be less than yourself, fit into the mold, fit into the context of other people. Don't have too much of a voice. Don't be too aggressive. Don't be ambitious, because those are not convenient for other people around you. And that's something both you and I are sort of pushing the envelope with, and saying, no, I will do exactly what I feel like doing. And I'm not going to tread on anyone else's toes to do that. But if your toes get trod on because I'm walking the path that I desire, then so be it. I mean, don't get in my way then. I do understand what um, uh, I want to read out this poem which I've marked, which is the poem after Sparkle. And if I have your permission, though you're the author of this, I really love this poem, so I want to read Starry Night. Is that all right by you?
Please do.
So Starry Night, you waited to be here, as golden in person as they seem on the outside looking in, so untouchable, an almost inhuman glow. But they grow dimmer as the night wears on. You try to hold on, to touch. The glitter rubs off. It was always just glue, an emptiness in the room, tired panic behind the posturing. When you take it off, do you still keep shining? So I really feel that us women are living in a time where inconvenient truths have to be accepted about us. And how has the reaction to your writing and to your turning producer and you finding your path after already achieving heights as a person doing cancer work and doing immunology and then being a hedge fund manager, how do people react? I mean, whether it's your colleagues or your family or people around you, what is the reaction?
So, I mean, one, I just want to say I haven't even got started, like I'm literally like I'm at the start of the journey. So I don't think I've achieved anything. Like I'm literally just starting. But I like I'm saying I'm so touched, I think, by the reaction, of the people reading the poetry, of my family, of my friends. I think um honestly, I was scared when I first published my first book, and actually also a little bit scared to publish my second, because there's a lot of dark truths in the book, right? Like I'm saying, it's literally my personal diary. I have put myself out there. I have talked about the dark side of love, family, ambition. And of course, I'm scared because I don't want to hurt, the people who've been so supportive to me. But I think that's what I like would not be here if my husband, my parents, my in-laws weren't as supportive, of me finding my own path, right? I think that's the other thing. Honestly, you can't do it yourself. So, if I just had this big, strong voice and I said all these things, but I didn't have the support, I still wouldn't be able to achieve anything, right? Like, I mean, whether it's the poetry, I mean, I've had so many people support the book, including my amazing publisher, Bloomsbury. With production, obviously, it's all my team at Boundless Media. It's obviously the talent we work with. I mean, this, right? To make one show, you have a minimum of 100 people, right? Who work on that show. So whether it's the writer or even, whether it's the editor or the musician or the designer, I mean, everyone plays a role, right? So I think I I'm very, very grateful to how people have responded to the honesty, because I mean, if people don't, if in the end people don't support you, then nothing is possible. So I do hope that Reinvention gets as great a response as Boundless, if not better. I also think, honestly, I think just one thing to say is I think I'm not alone in this, right? Like I think I'm capturing a moment in time with Boundless or Reinvention. I think women in my generation, I think they're just sick of like pretending to like, be the pretty ones who are sort of like decorative items in a room. I think like, I mean, no woman I know honestly is like shy or demure. Like everyone does speak up. Everyone does have a voice. I think, most husbands or boyfriends I know are sort of slightly scared of their partners. So I do think we are. This is also just capturing a moment in time where people are like, I'm not gonna take a backseat. I mean, exactly, but and you've obviously, I think you were ahead of your time. I think I'm just capturing a moment in time.
No, I think what you're saying is so relevant. This is generations ahead of us are not going to have these issues because they're going to take it to be the norm. With the whole Me Too movement and with everything that's been happening in the world, I think we're not at the cusp of change. The cusp of change happened, and now we're into the change. The change is all,
Exactly.
and the more people like you come forward and write and discuss and talk about all of these things that you're going through in such a fearless and um, glorious manner, celebrating each one of your thought processes. I think it's such a wonderfully powerful message. And I'm now looking forward to hearing from all these wonderful people because I'm not sure we have more than 5 minutes, but anyone with any questions, you can pop them up now. There's a continuous flow of hearts on this side, as you can see it. Can you see it, Natasha?
Yes, thank you so much, guys.
Everyone. And yes, this generation is fast and it's going to get faster, buddy. Yep, that's what we're hearing. Any questions for Natasha? Any questions for me? Okay, there's some of the usual hottie and all of that, those kind of names. But then whatever there. Salute, yes, salute to Natasha. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Let's hear. Hello, everyone. Natasha, you need to say hello to everyone there. Uh,
I
okay.
would I would also
Okay.
love, if anyone in the audience can say what the word reinvention means to them. I
Someone's
think,
someone's asked who's your favorite poet, Natasha?
ooh, that is a tough one. Actually, my favorite poet is E. E. Cummings.
Ah,
So, I love the way E. E. Cummings writes. Very distinctive, very stark, sharp poetry. I'm not really this type for like flowery, long poems. I think if you, I mean, read my poems, you'll see the words are very tight and carefully chosen and hopefully hard hitting. So I,
very
I really like that style.
yeah, very very hard hitting. Very good choice. Hmm. Hello everyone, and the book is called Reinvention. I'm going to show it to you one more time. It is available on Amazon, Flipkart, and Kindle. And it is Natasha's second book. The first one's called Boundless. Natasha's not only been an immunologist, she's been in cancer research, and she's been a hedge fund manager, and now she's a producer and a poet. Is there anything else that is on the cards next?
So I'm
On the questions. Uh, so you can please answer that question. What's next?
Sure. I'm actually super excited about a few projects that we're working at Boundless Media, which is my company. So basically, I used to run DICE and my partner used to run Udley Films. And we've come together to basically set up a creative house that tells stories for a new India. So like I said at the start, I think the audience is so smart, and now everyone's exposed to global content, right? So I mean, it's just what used to work 5 years ago is not going to cut it with people today. So basically, we are focused on telling genre bending, experimental stories for millennials and also a Gen Z audience. So right now we have a family show, a dark comic family show that we're doing for a platform. We actually made 3 shows in lockdown. We have a short film, a feminist short film that we're doing for international festivals, which is a very, very darkly funny take on pregnancy, actually. And we have an animated film coming out. So lots of stuff in the pipeline. You're going to see Boundless Media everywhere soon. So do if you like the poetry and the writing, do check out Boundless Media's work as well.
Of course, I'm sure they will. Boundless Media is also on Instagram, as is Natasha Malpani Oswal. And the book is Reinvention, and her company is called Boundless Media, and they're telling all sorts of amazing stories, especially in the darkly comic genre, a genre I myself love. Uh, yeah, so it is a week, a lot of stories. You can use satire and irony and all of that to tell things which sort of circumvent the truth and hit you smack dab in the middle of your face. Uh,
Exactly.
so someone's asked a question one moment about writing. I'm trying to look at that question. It's gonna 1 minute.
Just while you're looking for the question, actually, I do think the most truth is in fiction. I think,
Yeah.
we spend most of our life sidestepping what we really want to say, being careful with people. I think, that's literally like one of the reasons I like being a storyteller. You can say everything that you can't say in your real life through your work.
And one last question is, what is the catalyst for your writing, Natasha? That's the
Hmm.
question. Come up.
That's a great question. For me, my personal writing, so what I do in terms of my shows, the catalyst is like I'm saying, I think, truth is in fiction. So it's everything I can't say in my real life. I we say through the shows and films. And my catalyst for the poetry, honestly, it's my therapy. So it's my personal diary when I'm feeling something, when I can't honestly, when I'm trying to understand myself, like my own thoughts and feelings when I'm going through a change. That's when I write poetry, just
Mm.
therapy. So I clearly
For
need a
me,
lot of it.
no, but as the Prophet once said, the best art comes out of pain turning to power. That is the way to reinvent, and that is what you are asking everyone to do: reinvent and relook at their life and follow their heart, follow their bliss, and hopefully find satisfaction. So, how do you feel with all of this reinvention? Just to sum it all up, how do you feel liberated? Do you feel that your wings are getting stronger? Do you want to fly higher?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm at the start, I feel like, I mean, whatever's happened has happened. It's great. But I mean, now I'm starting. So I feel like I'm at the start of the journey.
That is brilliant. That is congratulations again, Natasha. We wish you all the very, very best, and all these fans who are now watching this live and who are going to watch it again. Um, This is the book. It's called Reinvention, and it is by the beautiful and wonderful Natasha Malpani Oswal. It's a book of poems where she talks in an almost brutally honest way about how painful yet rewarding reinvention has been, and we all know that it's a journey worth taking in your life. Thank you once again. The book is available on Amazon, Kindle, and Flipkart, and will be available in bookstores soon. It's called Reinvention. And also, if you want to pick up a previous book, it's called Boundless. And here's boundless good wishes and love to you, Natasha. Lots of love and lots of success. Mwah.
Thank you so much, Tisca. This was phenomenal. Really enjoyed our conversation, and thank you,
I
everyone.
thank you, everyone. Thank you.